What happened to the congresswoman? What happened to the woman that said she would never leave America? What happened? Who is catching up with her? Is Kama catching up with her? What is really going on? Someone should update me in the comment section. Honestly, ILHAN Omar has gotten to that point that when they are saying no turning back, that's the point where she is right now. Because for the vice president to also come to confirm this, I'm absolutely sure, guys, a lot of research have been carried out, and I'm going to allow you guys enjoy every single bit and clip of this. Please, I'm sorry if you think I'm roughing on your shoulder, but I just have to pull this out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's go watch. I'll be back with commentaries, and I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. Let's go watch. I'll be back.
All right, guys, you are not going to want to miss this one. Woke liberal Somali Congresswoman ILHAN Omar looks like she may be removed from Congress and deported. If the allegations in this story are true, Omar is finished. And stay till the end because I do have some evidence that actually backs up the claims that are made here. Take a listen to this.
With a federal investigation underway concerning the immigration status of Minnesota Congresswoman ILHAN Omar, one woman has been publicly raising red flags for years, and she believes she knows where the trail will lead. You know, President Trump has been calling Congresswoman ILHAN Omar into question recently, and White House border czar Tom Homan has confirmed there is an open investigation concerning her immigration status. You're no stranger to politics, I know, AJ, having run for Congress yourself, but you have been raising red flags about Omar for years now. I know there's a bit of a backstory here, but walk us through what you've uncovered.
Right. Well, in 2019, I was looking at something about ILHAN Omar on the internet, and it occurred to me to look at her birth year. I don't know why, or birth date. And so found out that she was actually 18 in the year 2000 when her father became eligible to apply for citizenship.
Now, this is massive because ILHAN Omar claimed to be a minor and got her citizenship through her father at the time. But if she was not a minor, then she would have had to get it on her own. Now, this should be easy enough to verify, you would think. But take a listen to this, and it's truly shocking.
Anyone has ever verified her citizenship, not the Minnesota Secretary of State, the FEC, or Congress itself. I then went to the Minnesota Secretary of State's office in October of 2019, I believe, and I asked questions and found out that they didn't verify her citizenship, and they actually don't.
So how do you verify their citizenship if they're foreign-born? But that's outside of our realm. There's no authorization in the statutes for us to follow, double check on people, verify their status and things like that. They signed the affidavit. That's the certification statement, and that's just the way it is right now. There is no law that requires us, and in fact, because there is no law telling us to do that, we would be violating the laws by checking up on people. We don't verify everybody is a citizen. We don't verify everybody is a citizen. We don't verify everybody is a citizen.
Now, this is just unbelievable. You have to be a U.S. citizen to be a member of Congress, and nobody has ever verified that. Not to mention that ILHAN Omar actually changed her date of birth on the official government website. Take a look at this.
Yeah, you've been putting all of this out there on social media. And again, you have been for years. I know one of your posts recently was even shared by President Trump's Truth Social account. It's not just your opinion, though. You've documented all of this. And you can see for yourself, the screenshots were, as you say, Omar changed her birth year from 1981 to 1982. Despite the documentation, many still have doubts, especially those who pointed out that USCIS doesn't release full records publicly. and name verifications may affect searches. But what do you say to those who doubt this story?
I believe that the whole narrative that Ilhan Omar became a citizen at the age of 17, that narrative that's documented, has been sold for so long that people have bought into it and they believe it. But where's the documentation? No one has seen her official naturalization records. No one. Not the Minnesota Secretary of State, not the Federal Election Commission, not Congress. And there is enough evidence now, especially in changing her birth year. I mean, who does that? Who goes to that effort of, oh, I'm in Congress now, and I've just noticed that my birth year is incorrect. No, that's a red flag.
That is a huge red flag. Who changes their birth year after they get elected to office? But I want you guys to take a look at something that may have gotten glossed over. Look at the document they showed during that clip. This is an immigration search request for Ilhan Omar's father, Nur Omar Mohammed, and it says it's a non-existence of record, which means that there are no immigration records existing for him, and they go back all the way to 1924. That is very bizarre and just raises more questions. Now, all of this would be very easy to put to rest if Ilhan Omar would just at least deny it or address it in any way. But take a listen to what has happened so far.
I know you've been, again, publishing all of this for years, claiming that Ilhan Omar is a foreign nationalist sitting in U.S. Congress. I'm curious, though, what kind of backlash have you faced for all of this, and has she disputed your findings at this point?
Well, Ilhan Omar has never disputed anything that I have publicly shared or questioned. Never. She's never addressed it.
So, AJ, with all of this attention recently on Omar's citizenship, do you think that something will finally happen?
Liz, I've done the work. I've done the research. I've put it out there for people to see. So am I hopeful? Yes, I am. I'm hopeful, but I'll believe it when I see it. And hopefully Tom Homan will go get the documents from the government directly and not settle for something that Ilhan Omar or her attorneys dig up. But I am hopeful that something will happen, but we'll see.
For somebody who can't seem to keep their mouth shut like Ilhan Omar, not even disputing this or ever addressing it is a red flag by itself. Let's hope Tom Homan investigates this and that Congress does their job and removes her after the findings come out. Now, I promised you guys that I had some evidence to back up the claim that Ilhan Omar lied about her age. Take a look at this. So this was an article on the BBC website after Ilhan Omar was elected in March of 2019. Now take a look at what it says here. 37-year-old. Now that would mean that she was born in 1981 if her birthday is October 4th, which has never been disputed. And then they even mention in the article that she was born in 1981. Again, that would mean that in the year 2000, she was already 18 because she would have turned 18 in 1999.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is big. For the first time ever, it's been confirmed officially by the Vice President J.D. Vance that Ilhan Omar committed immigration fraud. This is interesting timing because the Department of Justice has also begun denaturalization cases, which is just music to my ears. Here's the confirmation from J.D. Vance.
Let's talk about Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz.
Exactly.
And obviously, Ilhan Omar, the president and the White House have been out saying that she married her brother, that there is immigration fraud going on here. These are deportable denaturalization offenses. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build a case necessary to get some justice for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community. So do I know that ILHAN Omar was aware that the Quality Leering Center was defrauding the American people? I'm not certain of it, but we at least need to investigate it, because if people can commit wrongdoing without even the fear that they're going to be found out, that's a fundamental problem. So I'm worried about the immigration fraud. I'm also worried about, what did ILHAN Omar know about what was happening in the Somali community, and why was nobody looking into it until, frankly, Donald Trump came along?
The reason his words are significant here is because J.D. Vance is leading the task force to crack down on fraud across the country. And we're not just talking about monetary fraud. It's going to include immigration fraud as well. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice has begun stripping citizenship from people who commit crimes and fraud on their immigration cases. A few months ago, I made a video breaking down the categories of fraud that ILHAN Omar could be in big trouble for. And rather than restate what I said then, I'm going to play this clip in its entirety, and it should give you a lot more clarity on, really, in my opinion, how screwed ILHAN is. That's assuming the Trump administration follows through, which they absolutely should. ILHAN Omar and her family and her weird ties, it just needs to go back to Somalia. Go back to Mogadishu. Mogadouchebag. Take a listen. ILHAN Omar's lawyers are probably telling her there's nothing to worry about, there's the statute of limitations. That might be true, but there's one thing they're not thinking about. So a quick rundown: her marriage to Ahmed New Saeed Elmi.
There are many politicians that I don't like, but ILHAN Omar is up there on the list, 100%. I don't think that you should be able to sit in Congress if you were not born in the United States. It has nothing to do with her being Muslim. It has nothing to do with her being from Africa or being black or whatever excuse, other than the fact that her actions further solidify my feelings on this. I just don't feel that you can guarantee allegiance. And at this point, there are Americans who are also questionable in that respect. But I feel like there's a higher probability that you'll get someone who still has allegiance to their country. When you're naturalized, you do pledge allegiance. But a lot of people that do this, it's very clear that they didn't take their oath seriously. I always say you have two types of immigrants. You have immigrants who come here legally. They pay thousands. They work really hard. They do their naturalization. They take their oath. They are proud to come and be Americans with us. And we love that. And we honor them and we welcome them. They tend to have a greater appreciation for the American people and our country and our flag. However, you have people who just came in illegally, or people who got TPS, or people who were, refugees like ILHAN, where she came to us and said, her country isn't livable, essentially showed up here with a negative $65,000 net worth. And now she's worth, $30 million off of a public servant salary, where she is running a district where the fraud is in the billions. And instead of her responding and saying, showing solidarity with the American people and saying, hey, this is not okay. This is not a good representation of my community. I denounce it. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We didn't get any of that. She largely blamed Americans, said that everybody who was opposed to the fraud were racist. Everybody who was opposed to the fraud somehow didn't like foreigners, didn't want anybody to be here if they weren't American or white or male, or, the typical talking points that they use to evade accountability. She didn't say any of that. In fact, when we uncovered the fraud, which was largely perpetuated by her community, and she had the opportunity to stand in solidarity with the American people and denounce what was happening, she did not. The audacity was, how dare you come into our communities? We saw them on camera all saying this: get out of our communities. You don't tell us what to do in our communities. Okay, we have our citizenship too, even though they're sending back millions of dollars back to Somalia, the same place that they're claiming they're seeking asylum from. But somehow they are sending money back. So it's like there's clearly not an allegiance to the United States. So you telling me that you were granted TPS and then you got naturalized here and you're a citizen, it's not the same. I'm sorry, it's just not. And ILHAN now, with all that's going on in Minnesota in her district, she met us with aggression. She met us with, you have the nerve. And then you have Somalians actually doing press conferences telling us we should pay them reparations because they were inconvenienced by our immigration, customs, and border enforcement. So these types of things, on top of that, the State of the Union last night, where she is actively yelling at the president. I don't Is this what they do where she's from? Where you just stand up with no decorum and start yelling at the commander in chief? I don't care if you don't like Donald Trump. Have some decorum, have some respect. Sit there quietly. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But the yelling at the president, again, it's time after time after time of disrespect. Also, coming into the country and sowing more separation amongst Americans by saying things like the greatest, problem, the greatest threat is white men. Ma'am, if you really felt like that, you wouldn't have brought your tail over here to a predominantly white country, no? Out of all 54 countries, 53 minus Somalia, that you could have gone to on the continent of Africa where you would have barely encountered white people, you chose to come leave the continent of Africa, travel all the way to the United States, to a predominantly white country, to then be placed into Congress in our country and get on national television and say the greatest threat is listen, once again, there is no sense from a lot of peace people. There's no sense of like, thank you. It's very much like I do what I want to do. And her tone now is very much like, I've made my money. She even said it like, deport me. I don't care. Yeah, after you hit a lick for 30 million, allegedly, for this winery that doesn't exist or whatever else, alleged book cooking is happening. But the bottom line is just like, she is something else, like a complete piece of work. And so no, people like her make me dig my heels into this idea that Congress should operate the same way that the presidency does. You need to be born here. Simple as that. Show the birth certificate that you were born here. We need to minimize the risk of you having zero allegiance to our country, but holding a high position in our Congress.
I support the president and his administration, but I have absolutely had enough. Did you all see J.D. Vance's interview with Benny Johnson, where they are investigating ILHAN Omar? Vance says they do believe that ILHAN Omar has committed immigration fraud. Why in the hell is she still in the Senate? Where's the cuffs? It is time that this administration takes some action. If any other Joe Schmo did what ILHAN has done, they wouldn't think twice about having them sitting in a jail somewhere. It is time this administration gets down to business. The American people are fed up. Many of us have sat back quietly waiting and waiting and waiting. Everyone is running out of patience. If she committed immigration fraud, get her the hell out of here. I realize that this administration has a lot going on. They're probably overwhelmed. You made promises. Now we expect you to keep those promises. Y'all have a wonderful day. God bless you.
So Vice President J.D. Vance is raising serious allegations against ILHAN Omar. In a recent interview, Vance said the administration believes Omar definitely committed immigration fraud. The claim centers around allegations that she married her brother in order to help him obtain legal U.S. residency. This isn't a new accusation. It dates back years, and it's been heavily debated. Omar has reportedly denied the claims, as you would expect. She's called them false and offensive. And multiple fact checks have said that no conclusive public evidence proves that allegation. But here's what's new. Vance says the administration is now looking into potential legal remedies, including investigation and even denaturalization. So far, no formal charges have been filed, but the fact that it's being revisited at a high level signals a shift. And when he said it, he seemed fairly confident, which was interesting to me. I know a lot of you guys want her gone. So I will keep you up to date as that progresses. Make sure you follow my newsletter. The link to that is in my profile. So click that link, drop your email in, hit subscribe, and you'll start getting the updates when I send them out every morning. That's it for now. I'll see you in the next one.
The honest truth is, ILHAN Omar knew what she's doing. That's the fact. She knows everything that has literally went down in Minnesota. She knows every single thing that Americans have literally been talking about. But the fact that as days goes by, she keeps covering a lot of things and trying to retwist things is the reason why this is getting more attention than it deserves. And where I started really giving ILHAN Omar her space was literally when she said she was going to live longer than some persons in America. And I asked questions like, who are those persons you are going to live longer than? Now, we know that these Somalians have literally not, as far as I'm sorry, maybe I'm ruffling on other people's shoulder. Maybe a lot of people will come out and be like, oh, she didn't really get because she's not in their shoe. I'm sorry, forgive me. But I have not seen that positive contribution coming from the Somalis. Because oftentimes we see them bragging about how they literally made American who Americans are, how they are the one doing the 5 to 6 to 9 collar job, white collar jobs, how they have been the one running businesses in America. And if not for them, a lot of places in Minnesota would have been cancelled. They started having issues when Americans are now saying, okay, since you've made us who we are, you can boldly hit your chest. Now go back to your country. And to now wrap it, like, I can't help it that the congresswoman, which is ILHAN Omar, is now having a lot of issues coming up on daily activities. You can also hear from this video what JD Vance actually said. You guys know I'm not a fan of JD Vance and the Orange Man. You know already. I'm not their fan. But you see, when it comes to this Somalia of a thing, I love that Somalians should go back to their country. Because with how it's going, Somalians will literally want to take over America. I did a video that was last week where you literally see Somalians, Somalia, I think in, which state was that? Where they literally have to hang their Somalians flag. Somalians have claimed on several occasions that America, Minnesota to be precise, is their heritage. It has been promised to them years, decades, blah, 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 by their own ancestors. So there's nothing that these Somalians have not said. And coming to now find out that ILHAN Omar, the congresswoman, lied about her age just because she wants to have that citizenship, is a no-no for me. Is a no-no for me, honestly. If you give people chances, these people are going to, they are going to always want to be in charge of every single thing. How did she even get to be the congresswoman at the first place? Why was all of these investigations not carried out? Why was all of this not rooted out even before she started leading? It's something I really cannot wrap my head till date. Now, when they talk about the illegal immigrants, it pains her a whole lot. And now I'm seeing the reason. That's because she was also an illegal immigrant. Yeah. So they were just in America doing their businesses and enjoying life and assume that nothing literally is going to happen. And assume that, yeah, they can move on any damn time they want to move on and nobody's going to say shit. I can't really wrap my head towards that, to be honest. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. And credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And guys, thank you so much for staying stick and with me. With that being said, with no further ado, I like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be seeing back and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.